Now I will present in front of you some glimpses from research uh, in Pakistani context based on critical discourse analysis. I'll just present you a kind of synopsis of various studies, published studies in various Pakistani and international journals, in which the discourse analysis of Pakistani texts or Pakistani media has been conducted, and the major framework in these studies have been used from a critical perspective that we call critical discourse analysis. This is basically based on the aim that we should acquaint you with some kind of real time uh, analysis, so that you can develop a view about it, and you can incorporate it into your learning also in future. This probably would give you first hand experience of how a critical discourse analysis research may be, and would also give you an idea what kind of research is being conducted in Pakistani context, and what else is needed to be done, which probably would be scope for your future studies. In First of all, I'll present my own study, which was conducted by two other researchers. This study was titled as "Power and Media: A Critical Discourse Analysis of Pro-Government and Independent Press in Pakistan," and this can be found on Google. This was published in a very renowned Pakistani journal, published by a very popular Pakistani university. So this was published in 2015. I'll just give you some details of this article. This particular study aimed to highlight certain agendas which are hidden uh, behind the reporting of certain news events. This particular study doing this aimed to highlight how certain powerful political or socioeconomic groups can influence media and its reporting in for the sake of their own interest. This article basically focused on one news event, which was about the restoration of judges in 2009 by then government, and it was based on some kind of political pressure by the public and by the lawyers. We all know, most of us who were then in Pakistan could know that what happened actually. So how the judges were restored by the based on the street power of some political parties, and then some other agents maybe. But how this restoration was projected in the media by certain newspapers can be very interesting to be known. In order to analyze this, we picked up two newspapers. One Pakistani newspaper, one which was then thought to be very close to the persons in government, and the other newspaper was considered to be independent. Then we also provided some kind of comparative analysis with international newspapers also. The collected data from both newspapers, which was based on the news reporting, next day's headlines and other reporting of the same event in both newspapers, and both contextual and textual analysis were conducted. In order to conduct these analyses, there were various tools and techniques which were used. For example, framing, transitivity, referential strategies, these were employed, and comparative synchronic as well as historical diachronic details were also discussed. Comparative synchronic, I not only compared the text of both these newspapers, but also compared them with other international newspapers, so that we can see that what lies where, which is more closer to an objective reality. The finding reveals that media discourse may not necessarily present public opinion. Rather, this would reflect the version of a powerful group. For example, the reporting of one media group was clearly in line with government strategy. They not only were biased in the favor of government, rather they presented the actors behind this change or restoration of the judges in a way that it favored the government. and newspapers showed that it is something like that which government did it on its own, rather projecting the real story and the power of the masses behind that change. Therefore, it can be concluded that that particular media group or newspaper tried to support its AD, which was then government. Such kind of analysis is very important because this can help us in knowing how media can be a support to powerful groups in a society. The report of that particular newspaper also seemed to conceal important details and deliberately downplayed the role of certain important contributors in this news event. Therefore, it seems very important to encourage such studies in contexts like Pakistan or in other developing countries, because in these countries, because of our low literacy rates, people can be easily misled by the media. Therefore, such analysis can be conducted on a larger basis, so that we can reach to the such conclusions in which people may not be misled by the projections of the media.